So that we become more business friendly and so that we resolve these problems.
There's not time there. I mean, the problem is, like in my case, we, January 31st, got a letter in the mail. $1.4 million tax increase. Had no concept that it would be. We actually thank you. We had a $1.4 million bill come in, budgeted a 2% increase. And what's interesting is if I actually stroked a check for the increase, it's actually a $1.5 million increase. If I stroked a check right now for that amount, which I don't have, I'd be in surplus. It just doesn't make any sense. If you take a look at the system, tiers 12 to 13, there's a 91% jump in that one tier alone. The system itself is just flawed. And if this goes on, if there's not substantial relief, I know in my case, that's a 30 job. That's 30 jobs. That's the equivalent of 30, 35 jobs. And you know what? This whole room is filled with manufacturing companies that are in tiers 13 You're talking about saving 200 jobs, engineering jobs. I'll bet you there's 500 to 1,000 jobs in here you can save just by going back and trying to gain, and we're not suggesting as an industry that we don't fix SUDA. I mean, we're all in that, I think. We agree with that. And the changes that were made to SC Duke are awesome. But I think what has to happen is there has to be some minds thinking about keeping jobs in the state when the bills the size that we're looking at are coming out this year. And there's not an end in sight. You were talking about how they'll go down. Until we flush out the recession year, these bills aren't going to go down for us we're not going to get out of tiers 13 through 20 for 4 or 5 years. It's just not possible. We've run the math on it. We've been looking at it now for a month. So we just need your help on that. I know you're talking about We Are the Movement. We need you to go back and really look at this thing real strongly because we pay these bills in April, and I don't know how we do it.
Well, first of all, I'm in the position of, one, how do I keep the most business-friendly state I can, and also protect the taxpayer. This is one of those years where it's not fun. Okay, I am sorry that you have the taxes, but all of you back there, the reason your taxes went up is because you had a lot of claims. And I can't ask...
We don't use the system.
All of these people up front can't foot that bill for you. We have a federal loan that the state took. I can't help that we took it, but we've got to pay it back. The key is, no, and I have looked at the data. We are working on this every day. But what I will tell you is I'm more concerned about the jobs than you are. When I saw the increases, I was devastated. But I will tell you, this is one of those where everybody's going to say not in my backyard. So you can't, from a state, we can't win. I can't ask these people to pay those taxes. I can't. I have to make sure.
We gave tax decrease.
Why did you give a tax decrease?
Why did you give tax decrease?
Please hold your questions until you have the microphone. Thank you.
But it doesn't make any sense to give tax decreases when we're in a time. I can understand saying, let's keep tiers 1 through 12 flat, and then take 13 through 20 up and figure out.
You've got businesses who had no claims that were paying those high unemployment rates. That wasn't fair either. You see what I'm saying? I mean, now you ask, and I'll tell you, ask BMW, ask Boeing, ask any of these other companies. We've got a list of 5 or 6 companies that are fine with what happened because they didn't have the
Warner
claims.
though has 1,700. I mean, BMW probably has 1,700 temporaries out there. I'll bet you that their rates went up. I mean, you're just not sure. I think all we're asking you to do is go back and look at it real clearly. We've run the numbers, and I'm telling you that the impact it's going to have on jobs. If we're about jobs, we're South Carolina, we're a Republican state, we're about jobs. We need to make sure that we look at this real closely. And I think all we're asking is, we're not saying take 13 through 20 way down. We're just saying temper it and see if there's a way to reduce it over time and give us some relief this year so that we're not facing the decisions that people are going to start hearing in the second quarter are tough.
No, and I will tell you, you and I want the same things because we both want you to be able to keep the jobs and hire more. and we both want this problem to go away. It is something you have my commitment that we are going to continue to work on this. We have to. I want other industries coming in. I don't want them talking to you and having you say don't come because look at what just happened to us. So there is a selfish motive of mine to make sure that we do make you happy. The second side of it is, how long do we want to pay federal debt? That's the real answer. So you're asking me, and I'm not telling you what the right or wrong thing is, but what you're asking me is to delay the federal debt, or we will have to pay more interest, or take the burn now. That's the decision we're faced with. And I'm just saying that for everybody. There's no answer here today that's going to make anybody feel better, but it is either pay now or pay later, and if we're paying later, we're paying more. God bless you. You should be up at the front of the room.
Thank you. Governor, thank you, first of all, for having these sessions. I think they're worthwhile.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.
I will sort of tail on to some of the other comments that were made here. You said earlier that it took us a decade to get into this mess on unemployment. And yet, today, we are trying in 2 years to pay off this debt and have a $200 million surplus. Right. We are putting a terrible and a very drastic penalty on the shoulders of the businesses of this state. And you know, during the campaign, we talked about underemployment is here. We've got to get employment up. And we have to look after our businesses, small, medium, and large. This is our first test, and we're about to fail it. I hope you will talk to the senators, especially right now, because apparently that's where the battle is being fought at the present time. Do everything we possibly can to extend this particular scenario we're involved in. But most important, to make it affordable for existing industries so we can stay in business and continue to improve our employment in South Carolina. It's very important. I know it's a dilemma for you, and I understand where you're coming from, and I would be more than happy to sit down with you sometime over a cup of coffee.
Well, and I thank you for your comments. And the fact is, it would pay off over 4 years. The $200 million wouldn't happen for 6. It is a conversation we're still having. This is not a make or break. It's a conversation we're having. But like I said, the debate is: do you pay it now and deal with it, or do you pay more later and continue to have the federal loan and interest? That's
okay. Thank you. The only other comment I would make was in the Greenville News editorial yesterday. It said that because we had this in our backyard, and the various branches of state government did not address themselves to that problem over those 10-year periods, that the question is raising, we're raising the question now about should the state actually take up some of this debt rather than place it all on the shoulders of the owners and the business people of the state who were totally oblivious to the problems South Carolina was having, and were paying their taxes every day, every month, only as the authorities called for them to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Governor Haley, good to see you again.
How are you? Yes, sir.
I remember meeting you out at McAllister Square.
Yes, sir.
Talking with you, and everybody said she's going to make a great governor. We got to get her elected, and that's why I want to ask you 2 or 3 questions.
Okay.
One question I asked you, Governor, will we have a tax increase? You said, Henry, not under my watch.
Not under my watch, that's right.
You don't remember that? Well, you can't remember everything. That's like you telling everybody to die. You got to pay off your house loan. You got 1 year to do it. You got your house financed, and you got to pay it off in 1 year. We have 4,000 employees, and this was put on us. We didn't even hear about it till 2 months ago. Didn't have know this was going on. And this is going to cause the unemployment in this state to go sky high. Yes. Governor, we have 30 to 40 manufacturing people here tonight. We have one at Brigadier. He employs over 2,200 people over in Anderson. We got Bosch, we got companies represented here tonight that put you in office. I know you're proud of the upstate. That's where you got your votes, from upstate. We was worried beginning of the night when the middle and the lower part came in, you was behind. But when the upper state came in, we was going to listen, we was going to elect the governor that we could talk to and understand the problem. You're a great lady, but I don't think, Governor, that you really quite understand what's going on out here. You've had some bad advisors. You've had people advise, you know, Rybird come up with this, and he couldn't, you know, I don't know Senator Rybird, but I wouldn't want him working in my club anyway. Governor, please listen to the business people in South Carolina and quit listening, you know, to politicians. And we know you're going to make a great governor, but Governor, if you don't do something about this, believe me, South Carolina is going to be on the evening news about the unemployment rate going to go out of the sky.
Well, with all due
It's so
respect,
good to see you, and
thank
I
you.
know we can count on you doing something about our problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With all due respect, there are no politicians that I am listening to. It was not the money people that elected me. It was not the establishment people that elected me. I think all of y'all know that. It was the cooks in the kitchen. It was the parking meter attendants, and it was the small business owner that elected me. That is who I listen to. That is who I fight for. Now, having said that, do I want to save jobs in South Carolina? Absolutely. Do I want to work with our manufacturers? Absolutely. What I'm telling you is, this is a tough time. So I understand that this is hurting you. And I want you to understand there are discussions being made. And what I've tried to do is tell you what that debate is do we try and work this out now, or do we have you pay more later? I understand the issues that are at hand. I'm going to continue to do that. This is not about bad advice. This is about making hard decisions. Those hard decisions are being made on a daily basis. And my promise to you is, a year from now, I'm going to have made you proud. Thank you. Next question.
You're going to have more people in unemployment line going through what you just said. You're going to have more checks.
Next question.